There is something deeply disorienting about lying in bed completely exhausted and feeling the mind refuse to stop. The body is still. The room is dark. Every outer condition for rest is in place. Yet inside, something keeps moving. Thoughts replay old conversations. Memories return without invitation. The mind rehearses tomorrow's problems as if preparing for every possible outcome could somehow protect us from uncertainty. We tell ourselves that we are trying to find answers, but often we are simply trapped in a cycle of thinking that never reaches a conclusion. This is one of the most common and least discussed forms of suffering in modern life. Not dramatic suffering, not the kind that attracts attention. Quiet suffering. The suffering of a person who longs for rest but cannot find it. The suffering of a mind that has forgotten how to be still. Buddhist wisdom has spoken about this struggle for thousands of years, not as a rigid belief system, but as a form of medicine for the human condition. It offers gentle guidance for people whose minds have become crowded with worries, regrets, expectations, and endless mental noise. Tonight, we will explore 7 reflections inspired by Buddhist teachings on impermanence, compassion, acceptance, and inner peace. These are not affirmations designed to force positive thinking. They are reminders of truths that already exist within you. If repeated gently and sincerely before sleep, these reflections can help loosen the grip of anxiety and create space for genuine rest. The first reflection is this: my mind has worked hard today. It has earned its rest. Most people end the day without ever acknowledging the effort their minds have made. We thank people who help us. We appreciate the food that nourishes us. We care for machines when they become overworked. Yet the mind, which has been processing information every second since we woke up, rarely receives gratitude. 2. From the moment you opened your eyes this morning, your mind has been working. It has solved problems, made decisions, managed emotions, processed conversations, planned for the future, remembered responsibilities, responded to challenges. Even during moments when you thought you were doing nothing, the mind was quietly working in the background. And because it has been working continuously, it does not always know how to stop. The mind often continues its duties long after the day has ended because nobody has told it that the work is complete. Buddhist psychology teaches that the mind is not our enemy. It is not broken when it keeps thinking. It is simply performing the task it was designed to perform. The mind constantly scans for danger, predicts future outcomes, and attempts to solve unfinished problems because it believes this will keep us safe. When sleep becomes difficult, it is often not because something is wrong with us. It is because the mind has never been given permission to rest. This reflection changes that. When you quietly say to yourself, "My mind has worked hard today. It has earned its rest," you are creating a boundary. You are telling the mind that the workday is over. You are offering yourself the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. You are saying, "You have carried enough for one day. You have done enough. You may rest now." The Buddha observed that suffering often continues not because of events themselves, but because the mind keeps turning those events over and over again. A wheel left spinning continues to spin, not because it wants to, because nothing has told it to stop. This reflection becomes that gentle signal, not force, not suppression, not resistance, just permission. And sometimes permission is all the mind has been waiting for. The second reflection is, whatever is unfinished will still be there tomorrow. Tonight I am not responsible for any of it. One of the greatest causes of sleeplessness is the feeling that something remains incomplete. An unanswered email, an unfinished project, a difficult conversation, a decision that has not yet been made. The mind becomes convinced that continued thinking will somehow create progress. Yet lying awake at midnight rarely solves tomorrow's problems. It simply steals today's peace. Buddhist teachings describe attachment as one of the primary causes of suffering. Attachment is not only attachment to possessions or people, it is also attachment to unresolved situations. The mind grips unfinished tasks tightly. It believes that if it keeps holding on, eventually everything will become clear. But wisdom teaches something different. The night is not meant for solving. The night is meant for restoring. There is a natural rhythm in life, activity and rest, effort and surrender, movement and stillness. When we ignore this rhythm, suffering grows. When we respect it, balance returns. The unfinished tasks of today will still exist tomorrow morning. The difference is that tomorrow you will meet them with a rested mind rather than an exhausted one. That changes everything. So before sleep, remind yourself, whatever is unfinished will still be there tomorrow. Tonight I am not responsible for any of it. And allow your shoulders to relax. Allow the burden to become lighter. Allow yourself to trust that rest is not neglect. Rest is preparation. The third reflection is, I do not need to understand everything that happened today. Human beings have a deep desire for certainty. We want explanations. We want clarity. We want answers. When something confusing happens, the mind immediately begins searching for meaning. Why did they say that? What did they mean? Why did this happen? Could I have done something differently? Sometimes the search for understanding becomes endless. Hours pass. The mind keeps analyzing. Yet no answer arrives. The Buddha taught that peace does not come from understanding everything. Peace comes from learning to remain calm even when understanding is incomplete. This quality is called equanimity. Equanimity allows uncertainty to exist without creating suffering. It allows unanswered questions to remain unanswered. It allows life to be mysterious. When you say, I do not need to understand everything that happened today, you are freeing yourself from an impossible task. Some experiences reveal their meaning immediately. Others require weeks, months, or even years. Some may never be fully understood, and that is okay. Not knowing is not failure. Not knowing is simply part of being human. Tonight, give yourself permission to release the need for answers. The answers can wait. Sleep cannot. And so you rest. Not because everything is understood, but because understanding is not required for peace. The fourth reflection is, I release the version of today that I wished had been different. Many people spend their evenings reliving alternative versions of reality. The conversation that should have gone better, the mistake that should not have happened, the words that should have been spoken, the opportunity that should have been taken. The mind creates an imaginary version of the day and compares reality against it. This comparison creates suffering. Buddhist teachings describe this as the second arrow. The first arrow is the actual event, the mistake, the disappointment, the uncomfortable moment. The second arrow is self-judgment, regret, rumination, self-criticism. The first arrow may be unavoidable, the second arrow is optional. When you release the imagined version of today, you stop creating additional pain. You stop arguing with reality. You stop fighting a battle that cannot be won. The day happened exactly as it happened. Nothing can change that. What can change is your relationship with it. You can choose acceptance. You can choose compassion. You can choose peace. And so tonight, let the alternative version disappear. Let the imaginary story dissolve. What remains is reality, imperfect, human, complete, and enough. The fifth reflection is, the people I love are safe in this moment, and so am I. Love often disguises itself as worry. We worry because we care. We imagine future dangers because we want to protect those we love. Yet endless worry rarely protects anyone. Instead, it robs us of presence. The Buddha taught that suffering often arises from our desire to control what cannot be controlled. We want certainty. We want guarantees. We want assurance that nothing painful will ever happen. Life cannot provide those guarantees. What life can provide is this moment. And in this moment, most of the things we fear are not happening. Right now, in this breath, in this room, you are safe. The people you love are likely resting. The future has not arrived. The imagined disaster exists only in thought. Return to what is real. Return to this moment. Return to this breath. And gently remind yourself, the people I love are safe in this moment, and so am I. Feel the relief that comes from no longer carrying tomorrow's possibilities. Feel the peace of being here, now. The sixth reflection is, I am more than the events of this day. A difficult day often convinces us that it represents our entire life. One mistake feels permanent. One failure feels defining. One disappointment feels like proof of inadequacy. But Buddhist wisdom offers a different perspective. The self is not fixed. You are not a single moment. You are not one mistake. You are not one success. You are constantly changing, growing, learning, becoming. No single day can contain the entirety of who you are. Your life is much larger than today's events. Your story is much longer than today's chapter. Remember the challenges you have already survived. Remember the ways you have grown. Remember the strength you have discovered during difficult seasons. All of that still exists within you. So tonight, refuse to reduce yourself to one day. Say softly, I am more than the events of this day. And allow that truth to settle deep within your heart. The seventh and final reflection is, I soften, I release, I return to myself. These three simple statements gather all the previous reflections into a single practice. First, 9. I soften. Allow the muscles of the face to relax. Allow the jaw to unclench. Allow the shoulders to drop. Allow the body to stop carrying what it no longer needs to carry. Second, I release. Release the unfinished tasks. Release the unanswered questions. Release the regrets. Release the worries. Release the need to control tomorrow. Third, I return to myself. Return to the breath. Return to the body. Return to the quiet awareness that exists beneath every thought. Return to the simple experience of being alive. Nothing to prove. Nothing to achieve. Nothing to solve. Only this moment. Only this breath. Only this gentle awareness. Like a river settling after a storm, the mind gradually becomes clear again. Not because every problem has disappeared, but because you have stopped fighting them. And in that surrender, peace emerges naturally. Sleep, when it comes from this place, becomes more than rest. It becomes healing. It becomes restoration. It becomes a return to balance. Tonight, as you close your eyes, remember these reflections. You have done enough. You have carried enough. You are enough. The day is complete. The night is here, and peace is waiting.